Hello, so I'm going to be reading from The Artist's Way, that is written by Julia Cameron, and I am just going to carry on from where I left off. And this heading is Gain Disguised as Loss. Those are four very strong words all put together. Gain disguised as loss. I have a feeling this is going to, could be wrong, but I have a feeling this may go deep. And anyway, let's just go. Okay. Art is the act of structuring time. Look at it this way. A piece of art says, here's how I see it. As my waggish friend, the novelist Yves Babbitt, remarks, it's all in the frame. This is particularly true when what we are dealing with is an artistic loss. Every loss must always be viewed as a potential gain. It's all in the framing. Every end is a beginning. We know that, but we tend to forget it as we move through grief. Struck by a loss, we focus understandably on what we leave behind, the lost dream of the work's successful fruition and its buoyant reception. We need to focus on what lies ahead. This can be tricky. We may not know what lies ahead, to be honest. I could say that's basically true. I have no idea. I don't know most of anything. But I love to learn. Okay. And if the present hurts this badly, we tend to view the future as impending pain. It's an interesting perspective. I mean, I can understand that, but I can understand that, but I suppose, well, where my mind sort of goes to is sort of with the grief, loss type of pain, and then trying to look to the future. Sometimes it's so painful, you can't even look to the future. It's like that's a bit too much. So I don't know how different that is to what she's saying here. I mean, she's saying we tend to view the future as impending pain. I think that's a bit different from me saying in such horrific pain, looking to the future is too painful to even do. So therefore there wouldn't yet be a view, because everything would be so wrapped up in the pain that the vision could even go because of the pain, and that's looking ahead. But anyway, maybe but yeah, I mean, if you can just ignore me now, and we tend to view the future as impending pain, that more pain is going to come. So I understand that as well, but there's more than that. So here she gives a quote by Grace Hartigan. I cannot even expect my own art to provide all of the answers, only to hope it keeps asking the right questions. That's actually, wow. That's actually useful. I'll read it again. A quote by Grace Hartigan, Hartigan, Grace Hartigan. I cannot expect even my own art to provide all of the answers, only to hope it keeps asking the right questions. I like that. Gain disguised as loss is a potent artist's tool. To acquire it, simply brutally ask, how can this loss serve me? Where does it point my work? The answers will surprise and liberate you. The trick is to metabolize pain as energy. The key to doing that is to know, to trust, and to act as if a silver lining exists if you are only willing to look at that work differently, or to walk through a different door, one that you may have balked at even. In order to catch the ball, you have to want to catch the ball. The film director John Cassavetes once told a young director. Hearing this, I took it to mean, stop complaining about the lousy curves you get thrown and reach for what you really want. I have tried to follow this advice. For years, I played studio roulette. Repeatedly, original scripts were brought and not made. Repeatedly, fine work languished on studio shelves, the victim of revolving studio doors. Go Pictures became dead overnight, except in my filmmaker's heart, which was breaking. That's just the way it is, I was told repetitively. If you want to see your films made, you must first sell yourself as a writer, and then if one of your scripts is made, and if that film is a hit, and if the climate warms up a little, then you might get a shot at directing. ... I mean, just trying to say that takes my breath away. I listened to this covenantal wisdom for a long time, racking up loss after loss, writing script after script. Finally, after one loss too many, I began to look for the other door, the one I had refused to walk through. I decided to catch the ball. I became an independent filmmaker. I left Hollywood. I went to Chicago, bought a used camera, and using my Miami Vice writing money, shot my own feature, a romantic 40s style comedy. It was in the can for $31,000 and it looked good. Then, incredibly, my sound tapes were stolen. I finished the film anyway, dubbing it in its entirety. Not bad. Yes, crazy, but so was the Cassavetes. So was Cassavetes, not the Cassavetes, sorry, my role model. The result won foreign distribution and fine reviews abroad, and I learned a lot. I want to know the rest of that story. Really cool. We've got a quote here by Claes Oldenburg. Art is a technique of communication. The image is the most complete technique of all communication. Ooh. Art is a technique of communication. The image is the most complete technique of communication. I'll try and tell you just quickly why that is so profound, actually. I'm not going to go too much into it right now, but I can just feel that just feel there's something really, really significant there. Wow. Sorry, sometimes. Although this is probably where you recognize my weirdness, but also, hopefully you can also see that what I'm seeing, and there I'm also realizing something in my brain, and that it's hard to articulate, but I want to sort of put something into view for you. So I've read this twice, and so I think of communication and the image, and then this art is a technique of communication. Okay, so art is a technique of communication. The image is the most complete technique of all communication. So oh man. So okay, if you were to take, okay, let's put there's two techniques that like at first, yeah, so art as a technique, okay. Another technique, but more complete, is the image. And then if you think about the creator creating, and we are masterpieces, and were created in the image of so I'm just hinting there. And I mean, and so I like that, and then it's almost like growing into your identity in Christ. It's almost like embracing more and more of the masterpiece that you are, and then being sort of perhaps more drawn towards wanting to participate in that art making, therefore filling up and almost coming to slowly but surely, well, I hope so, surely, with some faith, and yeah, hope, and just keeping on a journey of hopefully coming to a completeness. And I think that is a part of this beautiful pursuit of seeking God, trying to find your identity in Christ, slowly having a more and more intimate relationship with God and with life, and all these things in life and in your heart and spirit, and connecting everything around, ultimately, I don't know, I think on a very unarticulable and uncomprehendable level, there is some kind of whole, complete, and hope to transcend just to the mourners and the, I don't know, again, I'm thinking of just to get there, to be developed into that image from inside the dark room even, and working it, and only when it's really get fully exposed to the light so that it may present the full picture. And that can be a series of photos that come through, which can then be pieced together to form an even larger whole, or pattern, as amongst different patterns or different waves of frequency and of resonance, and then different colors bouncing off because of the light, and just different things just taking on or becoming manifest, or not, or just becoming more and more settled into the dimension that you would be in at that point, as the grounding beneath your feet is almost like 4-dimensional. It's like wow. And it is like there's an ongoing developing, or when does it stop? When does it stop? It doesn't stop. That's the thing. It does not stop. I understand if you don't know what on earth I was talking about. I really understand that. I can even join you in saying that, because anyway. I admire that sometimes, because sometimes it can be really what's the word? I mean, it can be a really dissatisfying feeling when you, if you get to a stubborn, maybe, or blank, whatever, foggy even space in your mind where you're like, oh, okay, you've understood, and you understood that, and then you're like, but where's the other stuff on? But surely this isn't all, and then you can sometimes feel I'm missing something, and then it's like, oh, wait, but what am I missing? And what am I looking at? What am I not understanding? Then looking over back, I clearly didn't understand what I thought that I did. Hectic. But sometimes I can identify those moments when, okay, it's okay. There's this. I feel like I understand this, and maybe there isn't more to understand. Maybe I should be looking somewhere else. Maybe the point right now and the atmosphere around me, as well as my brain, body, and whatever, is sort of saying to me, stop trying to overthink, overanalyze, stop trying to understand. Sometimes the trying to understand part could be the thing that is blocking you from actually just being able to understand without so much effort. And I think that can sometimes be hard to do, or too hard to hard to know how to do, or how to implement, maybe in the beginning of that process. But yeah, I think once getting into a rhythm of that, and even just a rhythm, or even more of a repetition as to the amount of times you can sort of spot yourself, or catch yourself trying to understand, instead of, and stop yourself there and say, okay, let's take a step back and just let's just breathe for a moment, because that's an opportunity to do that, because it's to try and stop, or to cause some noise, or just put a spanner in the works there of this whole trying to understand, where it could very well be that if you were to step back a little and loosen up the grip, let go of whatever it's just trying to understand. Blah, 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 I'm so busy. No. Or sometimes maybe even chaotic. Or you're in a super narrow, and or maybe even you're I don't know if you've ever felt like a type of half dissociated feeling, but also tapped into like this persistent, still trying to understand, but finding it really hard to do, and then getting very frustrated, being aware of the this dissociation, and being annoyed because it's no, but I want you to understand that, and you don't even know what you're trying to understand, and you want to, and it's when to give up there? Well, I think sometimes that energy is going to burn up a little, and then so much so that it's almost like a function of you that you never knew about will kick in and will rip you out of that space there. But yeah, I think I'm definitely not the person in a place of any kind of wisdom to be able to say, oh, this is how to not take trying to the extreme, or this is how to not try and just let, or you see, I don't even know how to phrase it, but if you've got to try to do things, or try to understand the whole time, where you can just understand and not push to do everything, I think that's a mindset. It's involving a lot of other things. I don't want to go on too long, because it is obviously linked to a lot of other things. And I know that I'm not going into that. I really would like to right now, because I feel like, cool, I'm leaving just basically everything I said in a whole ball of what sort of seems like chaos to me, but okay. What can I say? I'm busy working through some stuff. Yeah. But yeah, I'm not going to not post this video, because the reason why I stepped up to read this, to just do this, just one chapter or one section, is because I want to see what difference it could make to the swarming and kind of really rude constant drumming on type of incessant thoughts of failure, and so I yeah, which half of them are lies, but sometimes there's like this, and I don't really want to engage with those thoughts or be aware of them, and I want to try and do something to like just break that up a little. Anyway, so because I asked how instead of why me, I now have a modest first feature to my credit. It might have happened if I had not taken matters into my own hands, but it might not have either. Since 1974, I have worked vigorously and exhaustively as a film writer. I have written and sold features, short films, documentaries, docudramas, teleplays, movies of the week, and that bleep movie. Bleep. I have directed one feature and half a dozen short films. Less visibly, I have labored as a script doctor, credited and not, for hire and for love. To boot, I've written 100+ film essays, film interviews, think pieces, train pieces, aesthetic pieces, more, all as I toiled as a writer for such diverse publications as Rolling Stone, the New York Times, the Village Voice, New York New West, the Los Angeles Times, the Chicago Tribune, and most conspicuously, American Film, where I served as a contributing editor for many years. In short, you might say I've done my dharma to my favorite art form. Why all of this diverse, hydra-headed productivity? Because I love movies, I love making them, and did not want my losses to take me down. I learned when hit by a loss to ask the right question, what next, instead of why me? Whenever I'm willing to ask what is necessary next, I've moved ahead. Whenever I've taken no for a final answer and have stalled and gotten stuck, I've learned that the key to career resiliency is self-empowerment and choice. Okay? If you look at long and successful creative careers, you will see this principle in action. The distinguished videographer Shirley Clarke began her creative career as a dancer. She first became a filmmaker so that there would be some properly made dance films. Distinguishing herself as the next first-rate feature editor, winning renown in Europe, if not directing jobs in American studios, Clarke became the first American director to shoot a feature in Harlem, the first American director to explore the range of handheld camera. Rock on! And the American director that John Cassavetes, Martin Scorsese, and Paul Schrader all credit as seminal in their own artistic formation. Alas, she was a woman and she lived in difficult times. When her filmmaking revenues dried up, she became one of the first video artists, working with Sam Shepard, Joseph Papp, and Ornette Coleman. Clarke clearly took to heart the idea that it was harder to hit a moving target. Whenever one avenue for her creativity was blocked, she found another. And we've got a quote by Jean-Jacques Rousseau: "The world of reality has its limits. The world of imagination is boundless." Nice. Film annals abound with such stories. Elia Kazan, out of favor as a director, wrote novels. The director, John Cassavetes, also a fine actor, used his acting to fund his directing efforts, which were too eclectic for studio backing. "If they won't make it as a feature, I'll make it," Cassavetes said, and he did. Rather than allow himself to be blocked, he looked for the other door. We would not enjoy the wonderful series of fairy tale theatre if actress producer Shelley Duvall had stayed home complaining during acting droughts instead of turning her creativity elsewhere. Artists who take this to heart survive and often prevail. The key here is action. Pain that is not used profitably quickly solidifies into a leaden heart, which makes any action difficult. Yes, difficult, but not impossible. And Philippians 4 verse 13. You're welcome to say this out loud with me. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. We can go again. If you didn't, just no harm. Nobody will know you said it, but it's a great thing to say it. And I haven't said it today, so I'll say it again. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Okay. When faced with a loss, immediately take one small action to support your artist. Even if all you're doing is buying a bunch of tulips and a sketch pad, your action says, I acknowledge you and your pain. I promise you a future worth living. Oh, sorry, it says worth having, but okay, well, I almost like mine better. I promise you a future worth having. I like my Freudian slip there. I promise you a future worth living. It's interesting too. Here's a little treat, a lullaby, a promise, ... It's like a small child, our artist, needs mummying. It's sweet. It's really sweet. It's hard. It's hard. Yeah. But I mean, like for me, and this might be really weird to hear, and probably maybe weird to say even, but I think that's really important to do. And it might feel weird or not, but for me, I mean, I can only sort of say that sometimes that's what you need. And my mom passed away like 10 years ago, so, and I'm not trying to say like anything like yeah, I don't know how to communicate this without making it weird. Everyone needs some mummying. Doesn't matter what age you are. Okay, that maybe sounded so lame. Just ignore that. Sorry. Okay, I'm gonna say this as well whilst I'm the next time you are around or with or in the proximity of someone that you love, care about, or even identify as someone who could really use a hug, and you have it within you to go and give that person a hug and say hi and put any kind of thoughts or opinions aside and just appeal to that, please do that. Do that. If you can, if you are able to. Sure. It's really a beautiful thing. Even surprise someone that maybe there's a family member that you are aware of that doesn't really like that type of thing. Well, spot your timing nicely and go surprise that person with a hug. Even if they're going to be like, hey, get off of me, but then just crack a joke and smile with them. You created a good memory there in any case. Yeah. I have a director friend who tells me that on his worst nights, when he is about to open a new film and he awaits career catastrophe, sure that he will never work again, in the dark, alone, he cajoles himself to sleep. If I can't shoot 35mm, I could still shoot 16mm. If I can't shoot 16mm, then I can shoot video. If I can't shoot video, I can shoot Super 8. That's so cool. Those are that is talking that's talking about film equipment, and lenses and the camera and the film equipment there. So just so you know, it's got nothing to do with the other, yeah. Okay. Right, I think that was enough of me. Yeah, I stuck another two verses on the wall there. Can't really read it properly from here, which is why I'm trying to make it. Oh, yeah. So Psalms 147 verse 3. He heals the brokenhearted, really? He heals the brokenhearted and binds up all their wounds. And please go read that entire psalm. So, because there's so much more in that psalm, it's really beautiful. But for me, it's like God's there. He's there to heal you. He does mind that you might be hurt. So he actually is there, and he's there. He's gonna help you to heal. And the other one, so that's Psalms 147. Sorry, but if you want to read Psalms 47 as well, that's great. And then 1 Peter 5 verse 9. With the paraphrase, but there's more to that scripture, is to be strong in your faith. For me, what comes up to mind right now is to be strong in your faith. I think a great way to do that, it's not like I'm saying I know everything, but what can help with, like, almost like, to build strength in terms of your body or exercise or whatever it is. It does take, it's not like just this. It's like to be strong in your faith. Almost for me, it's like continue and be consistent and just to continue and be consistent, and also constant, as constant as you can, almost like you're doing endurance training. And if you're going through a tough time, and perhaps you are every day doing a type of endurance training, which is helping to get you through some hard stuff and helping you to really press in and kick your own butt towards God more often, and in terms of trusting in Him and not leaning on your own understanding all the time, but at the same time remaining standing and steadfast in your faith. but being willing to move on his word. So then also being open to hear and being open to have him dwell inside of you, and being really intent on doing whatever you can to become closer and closer with him, and to do what needs to be done to also dwell within him, and to get into that place of grace and surrender, and just into his presence, where everything is okay. More than okay, but I'm saying in that where everything is okay, like in that like soft, fuzzy, huggy, almost childish sense. And so I'll defend that and say it's okay to imagine that, and apply certain techniques in terms of faith and connect, to your spiritual father, and look forward to those moments. And and I think that's better to do if you don't. It's better to do in all ways, even if you do have someone that could almost provide you with a similar feeling. But if you don't, then God is always there. So, but maybe one day there will be others. Anyhow, be grateful for the people that you have, and love them, and let them love you, and hug them, and let them hug you, and spend some time with some of your family members that you don't usually spend time with, and get to know one another, ask questions, make memories, just bond and heal. And oh gosh, there's just so much love that can, I just want that for everybody. Connection and love and hugging and happiness, and people gathered around a table, and a communion, sharing as people together, spending time with one another, finding each other worthy to be in the presence of. Also not, maybe not worthy, but worth it to make the effort to even gather together. But more than that, like, just that whole thing, being in that type of atmosphere, or hosting that type of atmosphere, just being in it, just really just cherish it, enjoy it. It's really a beautiful thing. Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, to do with this loss and gain, the concept that she had, I've had I've experienced like many major losses in my life, and I've been through a lot of things in between that, and I've gained a lot of things, but I think also I've gained a lot of gratitude, which may sound strange, but to me it doesn't exactly sound strange. It sounds like the instinctive thing that I wanted to say. And And the depth to that, God only knows, but I'm grateful. And God is so good. Like, life is hard, but it's also so beautiful. And I'm looking forward to the day when I meet him face to face, and when I hopefully can even rejoice with my mom again and everybody that I've lost, I see them again, and just see them again, and just be united with all of those. Ooh. Don't you love love? Okay, bye.